Okay, so thank you, Ma'am Asnora Yahya, for that engaging presentation. Now, our next presenter is a dedicated mentor from MSU Sagaran Community High School. And today, she's going to tackle her proposal entitled The Impact of Role-Playing Technique in Speaking Proficiency, a focus on enhancing speaking abilities among grade 7 pupils, students at MSU Sagaran Community High School. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a resounding applause to Ma'am ROHAIDA KURANGKING.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon once again. Good afternoon, ma'am. So, my research proposal is about the impact of role-playing technique in speaking proficiency, a focus on enhancing speaking abilities among grade 7 pupils at MSU Sagaran Community High School. So in a world where effective communication is paramount, the ability to articulate thoughts and ideas with fluency and precision is a skill that holds unparalleled significance. So being able to communicate effectively is one of the most important life skills to learn. Having a strong communication skills aids in all aspects of life, from professional to private and personal life, and everything that falls in between. So communication itself is defined as transferring information to produce greater understanding. In order to transfer information, you have this ability to speak fluently. So as well as speaking, it has been widely regarded as the core element of English language learning. The success of students in learning English is often measured by how well and articulates they can express themselves orally. Despite its popularity and the fact that it becomes one of the most embraced language skills by educational practitioners, inside the classroom, speaking has been and still thought of as the most challenging skill to master. So the ability to speak articulately and fluently helps in communication effectively. However, in order to communicate, we need to speak. But in order to speak, we need these vocabulary skills. On the other hand, vocabulary is a key element of students' understanding and communicative ability in any language. However, Filipino students of English are observed to face many difficulties with vocabulary, which have been attributed to the widespread use of traditional methods focusing on memorization and learning. So mostly, Filipino students have a limited English vocabulary that hinder them not to speak and communicate with others. And that is the most common problem of English teachers nowadays on how to encourage students to communicate and enhance their speaking using the English language. Therefore, being a teacher, you have a lot of teaching strategies to use in teaching speaking. So a number of teaching techniques have been invented to tackle this issue, and among them is role-play technique. So role-play potentially offers an enjoyable way to encourage students to use vocabulary appropriately in simulated authentic situations. Role-play gives students a chance to be introduced to new vocabulary, and they will be provided to use the words in context role-play, which may assist in enriching the students' comprehension of the terms and the use of the words in the actual situations. Now, for the theoretical framework of this research, there are three theories that we're going to use. The first one is the Long's interaction hypothesis. The second one is the Vygotsky's sociocultural theory. And the third one is Willis' task-based language teaching, or TBLT. So for Long's interaction hypothesis, this study is anchored on Long's interaction hypothesis in 1983. It proposed that language acquisition is enhanced through meaningful interaction. So it is especially when learners are pushed to negotiate meaning in real communicative situations. So recent studies have reaffirmed the positive impact of role play on speaking proficiency by producing opportunities for authentic situations. Long interaction hypothesis proposed that language acquisition is strongly facilitated by the use of target language in interaction. It means that if we want to enhance our English, we need to speak English during interaction. This hypothesis claims that comprehensible input is important for language learning and that the effectiveness of comprehensive input is greatly increased when learners have to negotiate for meaning when there is a breakdown in communication. The second theory is Vygotsky's sociocultural theory. This study is also supported by the theory of Vygotsky's sociocultural theory in 1978 that emphasized the importance of social interactions in cognitive development. So role play is seen as a tool for scaffolding language learning by creating a zone of proximal development. In research by Johnson in 2008, it supports the sociocultural perspective indicating that role play fosters language learning and development. For Vygotsky, he believed that cognitive development is influenced by cultural and social factors. He emphasized the role of social interaction in the development of mental abilities. He also believed that community play a central role in the process of making meaning. The third theory is the Willis Task-Based Language Teaching or TBLT. Willis in 2007 suggests that language learning is most effective when it involves meaningful tasks. So role play aligns with this approach as it provides a context for learners to use language purposefully. So in recent work by Garcia in 2022, it underscores the efficacy of task-based activities, including role play in improving speaking proficiency among language learners. So TBLT is an approach that differs from traditional approaches by emphasizing the importance of engaging learners' natural abilities for acquiring language incidentally through the performance of tasks that draw learners' attention to form. So for the conceptual framework of this study, we have this independent variable. The first one is the respondent's demographic profile. It includes the age, graded section, proficiency level, and the frequency of role play participated. And the dependent variable is the impact of role playing for speaking proficiency. That includes the engagement levels, confidence building, and vocabulary acquisition. So, we're going to find out the implications of the respondent's demographic profile in the impact of role playing in speaking proficiency. So, the statement of the problems, the first one is, what is the demographic profile of the respondents in terms of age, a graded section, and the frequency of role play participated. The second problem is, what are the perception of the respondents on the impact of role playing in speaking proficiency in terms of engagement level, confidence building, and vocabulary acquisition? And the third problem is, what implications can be drawn from the study? So, the null hypothesis will be tested at 0.05 level of significance where there is no significant relationship between the impact of role-playing and speaking proficiency. For the scope and limitation of this study, this research will be limited in finding the impact of role-playing in speaking proficiency of grade 7 students at MSU Sagimiran Community High School. So the respondent of this study will be limited only to the grade 7 junior high school students. So for the review of related literature and studies, so I just only copied or noted some studies and literature. So for related literature, role-playing has been recognized a valuable tool in language education, particularly for enhancing speaking proficiency. In the article of Smith and others, the impact of role-playing on speaking skills in second language acquisition, it delved into the various dimensions of role-playing and its positive influence on linguistic development. So in a related piece entitled Cognitive Benefits of Role-Playing in Language Learning by Jones and Lee in 2020, the authors delve into the cognitive aspects of role-playing activities and their impact on language acquisition. They argue that engaging in role-playing scenarios not only enhances linguistic abilities, but also stimulates cognitive processes crucial for effective communication. So this research becomes especially pertinent for grade 7 students as they navigate the critical sense of language development. For the related studies, so vocabulary learning is an imperative part of learning foreign language according to Smith and Carter in 2000. So many researchers indicate that real communication is a result of suitable and adequate vocabulary learning as compared with learning grammar rules only, according to Cook in 2013. However, most EFL students claim that they understand the new vocabulary items during the lecture, but they tend to forget newly learned words after a short period of time. So perhaps this is because of the lack of the opportunity to use these words in their conversation. Another one, according to the study of Cody and Hakin and McCarthy and Odell in 2022, they recommend the realization for the training of strategy in EFL classes to boost the process of vocabulary learning for the development of oral communication in and out of the language classrooms. For August, Carlo, Dressler, and Snow in 2015, they expressed that foreign language learners who have limited vocabulary take more time to learn new vocabulary items and are less able to involve in comprehending text and lack involvement in oral communication with their peers. As a result, such learners are more likely to get lower achievement in language learning assessments and are at the edge of the risk of being indicated as disabled in learning. So for the research design and methodology, so this study will use a descriptive method of research will be utilized in this study that will be deemed appropriate in identifying the impact of role-playing in speaking proficiency of students in MSU Sagiran Community High School. So the locale of the study is where I am teaching at MSU Sagiran Community High School, where MSU Sagiran Community High School is one of the 13 schools in MSU external units and one of the pioneering high schools of Mindanao State University. So the establishment of MSU Sagiran is a fulfillment to the objective of the university to facilitate the integration of the Muslim cultural community group into the national body. The establishment of MSU Sagiran was a fruit of the strong efforts of the late mayor of Sagiran, Haji Ali Salakop Dimakaling, and the first president of the Mindanao State University before the assumption of this school. So originally, MSU Sagiran was located behind the Municipal Hall of Sagiran, Lanao del Sur, and was consisted of few classrooms only. So to meet the increasing number of students and upon realizing the necessity of playground, the late attorney Ibrasani Karim Indad, upon assumption into office as the elected mayor of Sagiran in 1986, initiated the relocation of the school to an area of the 3/4 hectare donated by the late Dato Cade Lampo, and the school is located along the Marawi to Iligan Road. The respondents of the study will be limited to 120 grade 7 students in 3 sections, namely Section A Diamond, Section B Emerald, and Section CJ, enrolled this school year 2023-2024. So this study will be conducted by using random sampling. So in this sampling technique, the group samples in a population will be composed of 120 grade 7 students in MSU Sagiran Community High School. So the respondents distribution to the 5 selected public junior high school. So we have Section A Diamond. The total population for this school year is 44, and the population that we need to gather is 40. For Section B Emerald, we have 46, and the population to gather will be 40 also. For Section C Jade, we will have 44 students, and the population will be 40 also, we are total of 120 students. So this study used an adapted modified questionnaire where the researcher identified some relevant questions and made a slight modification to the research instruments depending on how the researcher aligned these questions of study. So the first part of the questionnaire will be asked for the respondents' demographic profile in terms of their age, grade level, and number of role play participated. So the question consists of indicators that involve engagement levels, confidence building, and vocabulary acquisition. The items in the Part 2 questionnaire will be given of 5 alternative choices, enable for the respondents to choose from which are as follows. So we have this code, range 5 to 1. So the description, 5 always, 4 often, 3 sometimes, 2 seldom, and 1 never. So the mean scores will be interpreted using the following guide. So we have this mean score range from 1 to 1.80. The interpretation for that is never. For 1.81 to 2.60, that is seldom. 2.61 to 3.40, that is sometimes. 3.41 to 4.20, that is often. And 4.21 to 5, that is always. So the following ranges below will be utilized to describe the perception level of the respondents to will. So we have this level of perception. So the level ranges also from 5 to 0. So from 4.5 to 5, that is always, and then it means that they observe the indicator excellently. For 3.5 to 4.49, that is often, and the interpretation for that is they observe the indicator moderately. So 2.5 to 3.49, that is sometimes, where students observe the indicator occasionally. For 1.5 to 2.49, that is seldom, in which they observe the indicator solemnly. And for 1.0 to 1.49, that is never, which it indicates that it's not observed. So for the data gathering procedure, In gathering the data for this study, the researcher will first ask permission to conduct the study from the principal of the MSU Sagiran Community High School, who were responsible for the approval to conduct the study. So after getting the permission, the researcher will immediately administer the survey questionnaires. So the researcher will assure the respondents that the result of the study will be beneficial to the school's stakeholders. So the data gathered will be tabulated and analyzed and interpreted by the researcher using appropriate statistical tools. So for the statistical tools used, we have three. The first one is the frequency and percentage distribution. So this formula will be used to determine the demographic profile of the respondents, where P stands for percentage, F stands for frequency, and N stands for the total number of respondents. The second one is the weighted arithmetic mean. So this will be used to determine the performance of the students. So where X stands for the weighted arithmetic mean, and this F stands also for frequency, and X is for the weight. And the last one is the standard deviation. So this will be used to measure the amount of variation and indicates the values tend to be close to the mean. So that's all for my research proposal. Thank you for listening.